Hey, this is Mike Barnes, the financial first responder. Hey, let me first apologize to you for coming to you late this afternoon. But as you know, I was up till about 4 in the morning after traveling. A little out of breath, did a couple of push-ups to get me hyped so I can talk to you 40 to 50-year-olds about the number of mistakes that you tend to make during this age range. Let me calm down. So, I'm going to talk to you 40 to 50-year-olds, and I want to help you keep you from making those financial mistakes. All right, let me tell you a story. So currently I'm 53. So I think that doesn't make me the authority of this topic, but I can talk to you about some of the things that I think people who are in their 40s or 50s have made mistakes. So let's look at this for a second. Here's a story. I had a client. The client was a little older than me, but I was in my 40s. During my 40s, I actually watched that client, and I was thinking to myself, how could I help this client? And the client, I'm not going to mention any names, was a husband and a wife, and they made good income, but as fast as they made it, they spent it. They had Mercedes, they had the stock options, they had different avenues of revenue that they actually made. And what we had to come to the conclusion was, for me to help them, we had to do a financial plan. So we're going to talk about a lot of things today that I think you need to be aware of as you deal with your financial advisors, your financial planners, your insurance agents, your investment advisors. As a financial first responder, I am a financial advisor and an insurance agent. So the information that I'm going to give you will probably be in line with some of the things you would find in a financial plan. You'll notice that I'm wearing Woodland for those people who were in the Marine Corps, the Army, which I've done both. I'm wearing this because we're fighting a financial war. We're fighting your financial war. And so without that said, let's go further. So one of the things that would affect a 40-year-old to 50-year-old is going to be this right here: neglecting their retirement planning. Now, here's a story I will tell you. If you have not started saving for your retirement, and I like to use the barometer of about 10% as the low, but you really need to go out and max out your accounts. Pay yourself first. We'd have to look up the 401k requirements or the 403b requirements. They change from year to year. I would go to your HR people or your financial advisor, and I would say, hey, what's the max that I could put into my account? When we talk about IRAs, whether it be Roth or traditional, that's going to be based off income. So you would be better off if you were sitting down talking to that financial professional, a financial first responder like myself. So don't neglect saving for retirement. Here's the thing. It's not how much you make, it's how much you keep. But one of the problems that you have in your age group is that you haven't saved enough, and now you're going to be trying to play catch up. Okay? Number 2, misjudging college funding. Now I can tell you this firsthand. My wife and I, our daughter went to college. We were in our late 40s. We were blessed because our daughter had full rides to go to her university. They actually paid her while she was in school. But we, as parents, didn't save enough money for her to have a full educational experience on our dime. Now, I'm not suggesting that you do that for your children. What I am suggesting is maybe you come up with the conclusion of how much am I willing to pay towards my child's education? Am I willing to pay 1 semester, 2 semesters? Maybe I'm willing to pay for the first 2 years. The last 2 is on them. Maybe I'm willing to make sure that they have the ability to go out and find scholarships to offset some of that. Maybe they had a 529 plan. Maybe they there were Series EE bonds that were set aside for them. Maybe there were, a Coverdale done. It could be a myriad of different types of programs to help your child get through school. But here's the thing. Neither my wife nor me, and probably some of you out here on this video, had someone pay for school for you. So you got college debt. Some of you probably got loan forgiveness through the public forgiveness program, and some may not. Some may be still paying loans, right? So I want you to think about this. If you make less than $60,000 a year, okay, on the FAFSA form, you're considered to be a person that is poor. I hate to tell you that. But if you make over 60, they expect that you're able to pay for your children to go to school. So the programs that they offer are going to be less than what one would like or would want to have if you make more than $60,000 a year. And that's a barometer, okay? I would also say that if your kids are watching this with you, your children, I don't want to call them kids because kids are baby goats, but if your children are actually watching this and your parents want you to go get a degree, and you feel like you don't know what you want to do yet, take all your general courses first. Maybe you start at a community college, or maybe you go to your local state college, or maybe you get a scholarship at one of the academies. Take all your general stuff and get it out the way, and then figure out over time what you want to major in. Because most times when kids go to school, they really don't know what they want to do. They have an idea, but until they experience some stuff, they don't know. And for parents, for you to pay out a lot of money for your child not to figure out what they want, or they're going to turn around and change that major a couple of times, that's not a good financial thing to do. So let's go to number 3, living beyond your means. Now, what do we mean by living beyond your means? Remember, we talked about the 20s, the 30s. We talked about the 30s, the 40s. Now you're 40 to 50. You're living beyond your means. You have more money going out than you have coming in. So you're going to start thinking, well, maybe, just maybe I need to start thinking about lowering my eating out, maybe lowering my vacations, maybe lowering some of my memberships and things that I subscribe to. Those are some ways that you can reduce some funding. But guess what? Another way you could do, you could start a side hustle. You could get a business going. While you have your boss and your business, your actual job, you could actually be making extra money. And see, a lot of people say, well, I can go just get a part-time job. Yes, you could. You could. But you're not going to get any tax write-offs for that, right? Because you're a part-time employee. And that means if you're working 40 hours for your main job and then another 20 hours or 30 hours for your part-time job, you're having less hours with your family as well. That's why I suggest you start a side hustle. Maybe you start your own business online. Maybe you get more information and educated on starting a business. As the financial first responder, I can tell you, it's easier for you to pick up 1099 income because you're getting paid when you offer a service for someone or a product than it is going out and getting a part-time job. Just a thought. Think about it. Okay. Also, ignoring your health and long-term care. Now, you should be re-evaluating all of your insurance needs during this age range. Why? Because the older you get, first of all, you should have been bought life insurance by now, right? It never, ever, ever surprises me on how many people will not have life insurance that will take care of their family in the event something happens. Because we all know we're going to die, right? At least I hope you figured that out by now. The probability is high that you're going to die. We can't live forever, right? That's just on the life insurance side. Then when we talk about long-term care, we're talking about being able to have additional services as we get older to help us without bankrupting ourselves or going through all our finances or destroying our family financially, right? So imagine if you can't get bed to chair. Right now, you know, unfortunately, my parents are older. My father didn't buy long-term care. I didn't sell it to him. Bad on me, my mistake. But he can't do bed to chair right now. So he's in the hospital. And so if he had long-term care when he got home, he could get some assistance, right? And here's the thing. Some of y'all think, well, I can just get Medicare, Medicaid. With those social programs, you actually have to remove all of your funds out of your name or not have the ability to pay for you to qualify. And so you want to think about those things, right? You want to think about those things now while you don't need them. So when you do, or if you do need them, you have those things covered. Now, we talk about insurance. Insurance, annually, you should be updating, looking at your what you have out there, whether it be whole life, term, universal life. You need to be looking at those policies, right? And what they were bought for and why you bought them. Now, I'm not saying you get rid of them. You just might need to open up another policy, or maybe you need to look at another way of insuring your assets or liabilities, okay? So disability insurance, need to look at that. Need to look at your long-term care. Need to look at your health insurance at least once a year. Make sure that that program is still up to date. Every year, there's an open enrollment period for most employers. If you work in the government, military, school systems, hospitals, they have an open enrollment period. You need to talk to your HR professional and find out when those are, okay? And that's one of the number one places that people lose money because they're overpaying. A lot of you have been with the same car insurance company for years, and you've been paying out the wazoo and just didn't know it. You might want to consider looking at, hey, what are my risks? Carrying higher deductibles versus the lowest ones that you can carry, because the higher the deductible, the less your premiums. You're welcome on your car insurance. Now, let's talk about delaying estate planning. Now, what do we mean by delaying estate planning? You're 40 to 50-year-olds, you don't have a will. If you don't have a will, you need to stop right now and figure out where you can get a will. Now, there's plenty of places. Now, here is what I do know. If, listen closely, look at me. If you don't have a will and you pass away, the state will put everything you own that's not tied to a beneficiary or paid upon death account, for those people who worked in a bank or their accounts are attached to a bank, or their IRAs with beneficiaries, it's going to be attached to your estate, your gross estate, okay? Which means there's going to be a tax. And whoever files for a petition to be your executive of your estate, when you go through probate, they're going to have a problem. You're not going to have a problem because you're dead. Let's keep that straight. You're dead. They're going to have to file based off of all your assets. Now, for you broke people, probably not a problem because you don't have nothing that's going to be taxed. But for you people who've saved some money, have a house, couple of houses, have, other assets, rental properties, things of that nature, that is a problem that you don't have a will. because now all of that is exposed to everybody, lottie-dottie and everybody. You know, for those people that were in the military, you know what I'm talking about. Everybody know your business, right? So you want to have a will. You want to have advanced medical directors. You want to have power of attorneys. You want to have, if you have a medical situation where you don't want to be resuscitated, you need to have a do not resuscitate, right? A DNR. So these are things that you need to talk about while you are still right in your mind and in your heart. You know what you want to do. Whether you want to leave your gun collection to someone, your coin collection, or you have jewelry or things of that nature, you know what you want to do. On a side note, we talked about wills. We talked about trust. Well, we didn't say trust. You have your trust that you can set up with a proper attorney, and your insurance agent can help you with the advice of the attorney. Depending on what you're trying to do, these are the things that you need to sit down when you do your financial plan, because I talked about that yesterday, right? Financial GPS, a global positioning system, is the same thing as a financial plan. We're figuring out where you are, where you're trying to go, and how to get there between the 2 points, right? For those who did map reading, we read right and up, and we shoot an azimuth. And we look for the points to get from across terrain. This is financial terrain that we're dealing with. We're fighting a financial war, people. Stop thinking that somebody is going to take care of you. You have to take care of yourself. Now, let's talk about risky investment choices. Because here's what happens. Now you done figured out, man, in my 20s to 30s, I didn't save any money. In my 30s to 40s, I didn't save no money. And now, what am I going to do? Because I can only put so much in my TSP and my 401k. You know, I can put the 23.5 plus if I'm over 50, I get another $5,000 or $6,000. And the numbers change. It changes from year to year. So those are not exact numbers I just gave you. So before you text me or DM me and saying, hey, financial first responder, you got the wrong numbers. Guess what? I'm purposely not giving those numbers because somebody may be looking at this a year from now and those numbers change. Ha ha. Thought you were smarter than me. Gotcha. All right. So when we talk about risky investments, now for those people who have investment property like yourself, you're going out, you're buying, maybe you buy a single family, or you buy a duplex, or you buy a triplex or a quad. Anything over 5 units is commercial, right? So you buy an apartment building. Maybe you buy storage units. Maybe you buy laundromats. Maybe you buy a franchise. There's acceptable risk in anything, right? But you have to figure out whether it's acceptable to you. A financial professional can give you some ideas and tell you how to get more cash flow, right? But one of the things we can't tell you is that there is no risk in anything that you do, because there's always risk. But this is when people start looking at crypto and they think, hey, if I put 10% of my account over here, or 15 or 50, Bitcoin's going to go through the roof, or XRP is going to go here, or da-da-da-da. It could, and it could not. It is a 50-50 chance. Now, I would be lying to you if I tell you I don't believe in crypto, because most financial advisors have no clue about crypto. I believe in all financial assets. It's good to have a little bit of everything. I don't have all my eggs in one basket. Just a thought. But you have to understand acceptable risk, because the risk, remember, we're fighting this financial war. We got our woodlands on. You know, I didn't put any camo on today, but I'm telling you right now, you are fighting against these institutions for your money. And if you don't figure out how to keep your money, they're going to take your money from you. And if they take your money, that's just like killing your child, taking your family, holding them hostage. We're in a war. So risky investments, understand this. you need to check it, read it, study it, and understand it before you do it. Check it, read it, understand it before you do it. Now, why am I saying that? Because we've heard of people being bamboozled, fraudsters, scammers, people taking your money because you didn't understand what you have. And we do know this as financial first responders and financial advisors, financial planners, insurance agents. If you can't explain what you just bought and why you bought it, then you don't know enough about it. What I hope to do through talking on this YouTube channel and other platforms is get people to become financial warriors. You have to be and willing to fight for your family's financial future. You are a financial warrior, especially if you follow me. Now, let's talk about neglecting and reevaluating that insurance. That's the number 7 thing right there. We talked about it a little bit over here, ignoring your health insurance and your long-term care. And I kind of spilled into the life insurance and I spilled into the car insurance. Here's the thing. Every year, if you have to use your birthday as a barometer, every year, or as a measurement of time, or a scale, whatever you want to call it, you need to go back to whoever your financial professional is, especially if they don't reach out to you. And you need to say, hey, it's time for my annual update. Just like you go get an annual physical. You go get your teeth cleaned twice a year, maybe. Some of y'all may go once a quarter because you don't want messed up teeth. I have all of my teeth. None have been pulled out, no cavities, none of that. You know why? Because my mama told me, my mama, and she probably would say this if she was listening to this right now. I bought insurance so that my children could go to the doctor and go to the dentist. If you're not buying or purchasing your insurance from your employer or your own business based off of the needs of your family, God bless you. That's what I'm going to say. Because you have to take responsibility for your family. Men, women, depending on who's the head of the household, somebody better have full coverage. Now, when we talk about insurance, health insurance especially, you have HMOs, which are health maintenance organizations. You have POSs, which are point of service organizations. And then you have PPOs. So you have PPOs or the ones where you don't have to get all of the permissions to see a specialist, right? And the POS is like a hybrid between an HMO and a PPO. So with that said, you need to reevaluate those insurance annually or during open enrollment. You know, I wish I could give you a whole bunch of information, and I'm going to start doing PowerPoint presentations, and I'm going to start just banging this out, making sure you're aware, making sure you understand. But I understand as a financial first responder that there's 2 types of pain. There's pain of discipline and pain of regret. And some of y'all, you would rather blame somebody else than to take ownership for yourself. And you'll come up with an excuse. Now, I learned this from my frat brothers. Excuses are the tools of incompetence that build monuments to nothingness, and those who utilize them in their purposes are better known for nothing else but excuses. Stop making excuses, you 40 to 50-year-olds, and get your stuff together. Your family is relying on you. Your retirement is relying on you. And let's say that you don't plan on retiring. Let's say you're going to work till you die. That's a good thing, right? It's not a bad thing. But you need to give yourself options in case your body doesn't stand up with the test of time. You get hit with cancer or you get hit with something medically that it stops you from working. What do you do then? That is the question you need to ask yourself. What do I do? And don't say, well, I'll get Social Security or I'll get a small disability. Stop saying that. Know what you're going to have. Focus on what you need to have to be successful financially. We're in a war. It's them against us. You are, and you must have the responsibility to take care of your family. So, with that said, we're going to do this one more time. One more again, as some people say. We're not going to neglect our retirement planning. We're going to come up in 2024 and figure out what we need to do to be on track. Whether you talk to me or you talk to somebody else, talk to somebody. We're going to not misjudge our college funding. We're going to plan for our kids, right? Living beyond your means. Now, let me go back one step. Let's say you decide that you didn't save any money for them to go to school, but you still want to help them. You could go out and get a PLUS loan, but that's based off of your credit. And that's your debt that you got to pay back. Now, if you haven't paid your college loans off, and you got new loans coming, and you got a mortgage, you see where all this adds up? And then you die and you didn't have enough insurance. You just left debt. Living beyond your means, you're not going to do that. Ignoring your health and long-term care, we're going to work on that. Then we're going to look at delaying estate planning. Why are we saying we're not going to delay estate planning? Because tomorrow is not promised. The next second is not promised. Stop thinking you're going to live forever, because you're not. Risky investments. We going to, as my grandfather say, measure once, measure twice, measure 3 times. You can only cut once. That's a carpenter term. And what that basically meant was you're going to evaluate, and then make that decision. And then you're not going to neglect reevaluating your other insurance programs. Now, we've been talking, and all I want you to do is like and subscribe to this video. I'd like you to forward this to a friend, and maybe you might save them financially. Maybe you might help them financially, and it might save their life. I'm pleading with you. Stop taking life for granted, your financial life, and get your stuff in order. Till we talk again, God bless. And this is Mike Barnes, the first responder.